Do we want to start out with something else or just go straight to intro?
Oh yeah, I wanted to complain about the Emmys.
Yes.
I know. Are you heartbroken?
I am.
I'm sorry.
I'm really
I did
sad.
a little review and I saw that none of the people were selected for you.
Yeah. Also, Riley posted that they were practicing to go on tour and then the writer's strike happened.
Oh
And
God.
I think she also hinted that they were supposed to perform at the MTV Movie Awards.
I could see
right?
that.
That was like right before the strike happened. And it's just like so devastating.
Yeah.
My last year could have been the best year of my life. And it wasn't because of that. So
Did they all go to the Emmys or were they not there?
They were all there, and I have yet to see like a group photo or video.
Oh.
So also, if I don't get that, then that's
Life
just going to
isn't
be a
worth
waste
it.
of my life. Yeah, it's not.
I wonder if it could do better somehow. Like maybe it'll have like a Suits revival, and then they'll be like, "We got to bring Daisy and the band back together."
They have all openly said that they want to do a season 2. So, I mean, I feel like I thought that like maybe them winning Emmys would make Amazon Studios more like, okay, yeah, let's do it. But I feel like since award season is now over for them, because they were competing in the limited series category, now they could be like, oh, just kidding, we're going to do a second season.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe.
I wonder
still have hope
how
for that.
Taylor would feel about that. I mean, she'd get
She
more
said
money.
she's open to it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they've all said that they want to do it. So, like, it's really just Amazon Studios.
I would pray that Taylor would also write a book because I really loved that book too.
Yeah, I don't know if she would, but maybe.
I mean, it'd be less work for her not to. She could just like help with the like transition of what is it called? Script writing, screenwriting, writing.
Yeah.
Screenwriting, yeah.
I feel like it was just like bad timing and just enough people didn't hear about it for it to become popular enough. Like people weren't really talking about it. Except you.
You know what they should have done?
It depends on your algorithm because I think people were talking about it.
But they should have
well, of course, on your algorithm.
Sponsored more people on Book Talk, like the really big Book Talk people that were hyping up Daisy Jones and the Six, and paid them to promote like, because I don't think on Book Talk like I had a couple creators that have done like book focused stuff, and they don't really pay that much. Like there's obviously like the big publishing houses can pay people, but like if you're not getting paid by Amazon or like Audible or something, like it's really hard to get deals. So I'm sure they would have like done it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I did a book deal last year.
TBT to win. Devin did a book deal, and then I won her giveaway because I was like one of the only comics.
You're not supposed to tell anyone.
It was fully random. They selected me randomly.
I know they picked you, and I was like,
oh, that's so funny.
It wasn't like you cheating the system. I entered that giveaway.
You were like, I want to win.
It's so funny though.
And you just entered to be supportive too.
No, I wanted that book
because you wanted the book.
No, it is. I just saw it the other day, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I should actually read that.
Yeah,
maybe. All right, we have a very exciting episode today, so let's get into it because you guys submitted so many great questions. Oh, I wanted to remember to say in the beginning of the episode to make sure you join our Facebook community because this is where you'll find things like this and opportunities to submit questions when we're doing episodes like this. Same with following our Instagram and our TikTok. Make sure you're doing those. But yeah, let me do the intro. Welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devin.
I'm Brittany. Devin, that was a huge pause.
Okay, is there a delay for you or something? Because you had a huge pause.
Maybe I was focused on your pause and calling it out.
I didn't think I had a pause, but
there is one. I promise.
I'll pay attention when I'm editing, and I'll send you proof that there wasn't.
That's always that's the funniest part. Like when editing is like you see the break, like with no audio going up.
It's like Brittany, and then go.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think Brittany has a delay from my voice or something because like she waits so long to say her name, and I'm like, there's got to be a delay. But then you say that I wait, and I'm like, what? That makes no sense to me because I said it right away in my head.
Maybe you're both delayed.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll never know.
But we asked you guys for advice questions, and you guys really delivered. Do you want to like take turns reading them and like picking random ones? Because we're probably not going to be able to even answer all of these.
No, we're definitely not. There's so many.
Okay, should I read one? My blinds are like making marks on my face right now on the camera, as that's just how it's going to be for this episode, I guess. Unfortunately.
Very artistic.
I'll have an Anna Sitar photo shoot. Okay. First one. I've recently started therapy, and sometimes it feels so helpful to talk to somebody, but other times it makes me feel really anxious and I struggle to find things to talk about. Have any of you experienced this? I'm not sure if this is normal or maybe I haven't found a therapist who is the right fit. Great question.
I'm out on this.
I feel
I'm out on this.
I don't know. Maggie, what do you think about this? I think that like sorry. Shut
up. No, you can answer.
You go first.
Okay. I feel like if you just recently started, like if it's only been like 2-3 times, it might just be because it's still new and it might not be the specific therapist. But if you're going 4, 5, 6 times and you're still feeling that way, then I would think it's probably the therapist. But also like sometimes that just happens where like you go to sit down and you're having a good day that particular day, and then you're like, oh, I forgot anything bad that's ever happened to me.
But shouldn't your therapist then guide you to what you should talk about that day?
I was gonna say in terms of having a therapist, because like there's definitely times where I went to therapy and I didn't think I had anything to talk about, but like the question, like I would say something and then the probing questions after would like spark something in me.
Yeah, it depends what kind of therapist though, like and what kind of therapy that they're doing, because it might be a lot of people do the therapy where it's like just kind of every week you go and you're just talking about what happened that current week, and it's not as much about like delving into your childhood trauma and like doing a timeline of your life and starting from the beginning. It's more like, oh, we'll talk about what's currently happening, and then if this issue ties back into childhood or something, then we'll go over that. But like a lot of times you do have to kind of bring up what you like are experiencing that week. So I also think it's a good idea if you like have in your notes app or something, or if you journal, to like just keep note of the things that come up in your mind throughout the week, so then that way you have a chance to bring it up. And you can even like sometimes I would tell my therapist like, I don't even feel serious about this anymore. Like I'm not upset about this now, but like last week I was really upset about this, and so I just maybe want to figure out why or something like that. But yeah, it's probably not the right therapist if you've gone several times.
I think it's really hard because it's obviously like you're investing your time into this person, and it sucks to kind of like break it off. But I feel like if you just started and your like gut feeling is that like you're not clicking with the person, you might as well just like jump to another one so that you don't have to like spend 3-4 months with a person and it be the wrong fit.
Yeah,
because I think that can be kind of discouraging and demotivating to continue going.
Yeah, as an introvert and somebody with social anxiety and a people pleaser, I want to just pick one person and stick with them. Like the reason I haven't started therapy is the overwhelming of like, well, I have to like interview and find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about that in the long term is so overwhelming to me. But then if I did it 6 months from now, I'd probably be like, I found the right person and I'm so happy. It like is the same with dating and making friends and stuff too. It's
literally.
like, oh, well, I have to date so many people before I even find the right person. But then like a year from now, if I did find the right person, then I would be like, oh, I'm so glad I did all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can get through a lot of that with like Psychology Today and Psych Info and like a lot of the websites to look into each therapist that like I don't know, like people just have specifics. Like I don't want to see a guy therapist. I only want to see a girl. So like I'm specifically looking, I don't want too young of a girl that feels like she's like my age. I probably want slightly older. So like look at all of these parameters and what they like they'll straight up say like, "Oh, I talk about eating disorders or anxiety or life changes or whatever it might be." So you can like really narrow down the type of person and then it just comes to like how you vibe with them talking. Okay, ready for another one?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I just started dating a guy, been on about 4 dates. He's such a gentleman and really great convo. I'm excited about it. He recently told me that he's bi, and I'm freaking out. I really like him, but the thought of him even being attracted to men kind of grosses me out. I don't want to be closed-minded. What would you do? We were just talking about this, so I thought it was interesting.
We were?
Weren't we? Was that in an episode?
I don't think so.
Was that with somebody else I was talking about?
I definitely think that this would be something that I don't know. I don't know how I would approach the situation because I completely understand probably why this person, like why the guy probably didn't come out with it right away, because it's like something that if the person likes them for them, then that other piece of information might not really matter. But obviously it matters to this person.
Sexuality is just so like fluid too. It's so weird that in our minds we find it like so black and white and like
Yeah.
I want to say like, oh, that's pretty fucked up that you would think that, but also at the same time I would also be weirded out like, oh, this guy that I'm really attracted to has made out with or had sex with guys. Like that would freak me out, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be weird.
Yeah. I would probably like try and understand like what the perception is. Like what are you worried about? Like or what kind of is triggering you to be like grossed out by it, because that might like kind of tell you a little bit more about like what you're looking for in a person.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of seeing your underlying feelings there. Like why does it freak you out or why does it weird you out? Cuz for me, I feel like
Yeah.
especially younger, like if this were to happen to me when I was younger, I'd feel more freaked out probably from like a jealousy aspect of like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a
That's
whole new pool of people that like I have to be concerned about or like feel jealous of
that's
or something like that.
literally 100% what went through my mind. I was like, oh, like I would be more concerned about like, okay, I'm not just worried about other girls, like I have to be worried about guys.
Yeah, like now you have guy friends, like you're having sleepovers with your guy friends. Like, wait, what? Like that would probably be the concern. So I feel like it would just be having a healthy relationship where I don't know, where you would just have to understand just because a gay guy like or just because a guy is attracted to other guys, it doesn't mean he's attracted to every single other guy. Same with
Yeah.
girls. Like if your girlfriend says that she is gay, it's not like you like me, you're attracted to me.
Mhm.
It's like no,
Yeah.
they're not attracted to everybody on the planet.
Yeah. Also, I think it's like weird because you had this perception of him, you had built this like
Yeah.
Or dates.
ideal version of him, and then you find out that something doesn't fit into that perception that you had already built, and that throws you off and makes you like angry or jealous or mad, which is always hard to deal with. But people are so much more than the perceptions we have of them.
Yeah.
What do you think that she should do?
Go to therapy. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I don't know.
Everyone should.
I don't know.
Try and understand a little bit more about like their own perception of it and like why they're feeling that way, and like try and have an open conversation with the person she's dating,
Yeah,
and then kind of see where it goes from there.
that's what I
But
was
if it's
gonna
truly
say.
a deal breaker, then like I think you should just, it's been 4 dates, so like you should just end it early for like both of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And you don't have to fit with everyone, you know?
Mhm.
If it's not for you, then it's not for you, and that's okay.
I do think it's so interesting though how guys are so pro girls being bi and then girls are weirded out by guys being bi.
It's the masculinity, patriarchy, double standard.
Yeah.
You know, like men are supposed to be tough and strong and like
Yeah. That's just so interesting.
the caretaker.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I have my bachelorette party in 2 months, and my friend that I really wanted to be there says she can't go, but won't give a reason why she can't make it. I'd be understanding, of course, if she had work or can't figure out daycare for her kid, or maybe her husband is gone then, etc. But it hurts because I'm always reaching out to her, supporting her, etc. And she can do other weekends with other friends. I value our friendship, but I don't know what to say to her message. I still haven't replied because I'm hurt. What should I say?
This is so hard because I feel like I could be on both sides so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to like travel. Was this a travel bachelorette party or is it
She
just
didn't say.
I think there's
Yeah.
so many things for a bachelorette party that's really tough to like go one way or another. And if she's like not, especially if it's a financial thing too, that's like a really hard thing to come out and be like, hey, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
or even like for me it would be like an anxiety thing, like a mental health thing that I don't want to put myself through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you feel
Which is
comfortable
hard.
like sharing that? Like if you were somebody's bridesmaid,
As
hopefully you would feel comfortable with them to tell them that.
yeah, you would have to. You couldn't yeah, as the friend who can't go, you need to have a valid reason why. Otherwise,
Yeah, like that's kind of crazy that she didn't even give her like any reason whatsoever. I mean, that's bold. I need to start doing that more. I'm like, because blah blah blah, I like type up a paragraph of like the reasoning behind it.
Because no, I'm not going.
yeah, but for a wedding as a bridesmaid, that deserves an explanation, I think.
Yeah. I think that there's like two things with this. One, I think, are you one of the first people in your friend group that is getting married? Because I think me getting married now, I'm realizing, well, one, I was my sister's maid of honor when I was like 17, and like I didn't do barely anything for her whatsoever. And then like I already think about when she had babies, I see TikToks now that's like support the mom, like bring them food, like make sure they can get sleep, do the dishes, don't be the person that just wants to hold the baby, like they want to hold their baby. I'm like, oh fuck, that's definitely me. Like, give me the baby, yeah. Whatever. Like, didn't know these things until you experience them, and then you're like, oh shit, that makes sense. So like, until you're the one getting married, and you're like, oh, I want everyone there for me, you don't fully realize how important it is to be there for other people. But also, like you're guys saying, there's like a million reasons why she might not be able to go, and I think especially if it's a trip or something like that, or anything that costs money, you shouldn't like expect everyone to go or to that be like a necessity whatsoever. Like that's a lot, and that only started happening like in the last 10 years, I feel like, for bachelorettes to be so huge.
This is why I will never have a wedding like this because I have too much anxiety to expect friends to want to do what I want to do for a long period of time. Like to expect my friends to all want to go to Nashville for 3 days and have fun the whole time is way too much anxiety for me. I couldn't do that. But I love people who do. And I like being invited to them too. Like, but I'm just nothing against the person who wrote the question at all whatsoever. But
I also think like
it just scares me.
What she should say back to the person, depending on like the relationship or like how close they are. It seems like also that she's been reaching out a lot and supporting her, but it doesn't necessarily sound like it's been reciprocated.
Yeah.
So maybe this is like the opportunity to kind of have like a larger conversation about like what's going on in her life, like, and if she can kind of open up the door to her friend to like share that sort of thing, because maybe there's something deeper going on for her that like why she's retreating. Because I definitely like if something's going on with me, I internalize a lot of it and I don't necessarily like share it with other people until like I've processed it and I'm ready to talk about it. So maybe like opening up the door and like inviting her to like kind of explain more about that could help.
Exactly. And being understanding of whatever her answer is, or like maybe finding ways around it. Like if it is money, maybe you could help her out if you have the extra means to do that. Or if it's anxiety or something, like maybe you can find other ways around it. But yeah, just listen to her probably. I think it's also like when you're getting married, you start to be so like just not self-absorbed, but almost it's just like that's all you're seeing, and it's like the whole fucking year there's a million events and it feels like it's like all about you every single time, and like you don't realize as much like all of your friends are also going through their whole lives at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's hard.
So her reply should be asking her what's going on. Like, be like,
yeah, opening the conversation in like a caring way, like
non-confrontational.
Like, be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like, that makes me really sad to hear. I definitely wanted you to be there. Like, what's going on? Why can't you make it? I'd love to figure something out to like help you out if we can do that.
yeah.
But it also sounds like the way you said that she hangs out with other friends and stuff on the weekends, and like it is just a weekend thing. Like, maybe you are not as close as friends as you think that you are. I feel like that I've had to learn that lesson so many times where I think I'm like so close to the person and they like are not vibing the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would talk about your friendship first, like outside of the bachelorette party, to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like that.
Okay, somebody said, I'm going to a speed dating event on February 1st. I've never done anything like this, but I've been so depressed and had no luck with people online. Got any advice for me? That's so cool and scary.
First of all, you are so brave. That's amazing.
Like, so brave.
I love you for that. I didn't know that those things were real.
I know, right? I thought that was like in the movies.
I wonder if they have like, is there like a set age range or like a set like?
I think so. I think that's how they do it. And then I think it literally is like the shows where you meet. I don't know how long the thing is it like a minute or 2 minutes? And then you write down the people that you're interested in. And then if there's any like mutual interest, then they give those people's numbers to you.
Yeah. I think that I would have
should do that.
like a couple questions. Like a couple of questions or like thought starter or like conversation starters. Like not like awkward ones like what's your like dream vacation? Like, you know, I mean maybe dream vacation is
who'd you vote for? Who are you voting for this year in the election?
Yeah, like just some like good introductory things that you can just kind of like have, and because it also kind of lets it be a comparison thing where like you can actually compare the two different people that you're talking to.
Or it would be funny if you started with like a funny question, like a would you rather type of question or something. Yeah. Like, would you rather have I can't even think of one, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like that a
like
lot.
The
some
space
sort of like
helmet.
icebreaker, like I someone did that on TikTok. They were like asking about that, and I was like so triggered.
That's where I got it from. That's so funny.
But it came up again like recently. Like I saw someone else talk about it recently.
I love that. Maybe I influenced somebody else. Maybe they saw our podcast.
Also, I would try to, because you're going to be meeting so many people and you want to see if there's a connection there or not, I would like kind of just like not overthink it. And then if you vibe with someone, then you know that it's really a vibe and not that like you're trying too hard to like ask a question or something.
Yeah.
Like if it just connects,
yeah,
that's kind of what you're looking for. And if it doesn't, then who cares? You're never going to see them again.
I feel like the shortness is so much pressure. Like that would be so scary if it's like only 2 minutes, but then also that's cool because then it's 2 minutes and then you're done. Like then it's just moves on to the next person if it's bad.
I would try to avoid like really, really basic questions. This is why I was like thinking about like having a couple questions like just lined up, because if you're just talking about like where you're from, what do you do for work, like that's really hard to compare like your connection with somebody.
Yeah,
if you're just having those sort of conversations. So if you can like bring it out to something else, like I think a would you rather question is great to like just see how they react to it.
Break the ice. That's like an icebreaker, right?
Yeah, I think that's
literally what you need.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if you submitted this, you should message us and tell us where the speed dating event is.
We need an update.
Yeah. Oh my god, please.
An update form.
Okay, we'll add an update section to our Google form, and if you ever have any updates on any advice we gave you, please fill it out.
Even previous ones from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that. Yeah, that's really scary though. Just good luck, and that's very brave of you, and I feel like it will just be such a learning growth experience no matter how it even turns out. Okay, this one's a long one, but I feel like it is good and relatable probably for people. I'm 30 and I am dealing with pretty severe chronic health conditions that set in the last couple of years. I've had to take time off of work to recover and I'm currently homebound. It's progressing, thank goodness, but very slowly. It's likely I'll need at least a couple years off to be back to normal functioning. My health condition is complicated. It includes a brain injury and is seemingly invisible. I look fine from the outside but deal with a lot of symptoms. It feels isolating because, as much as friends are trying to be supportive, many do not understand what it's like to have their health make them hit the brakes on life. I've also had to cut off contact with a close friend who constantly gaslit my symptoms and made me feel guilty for not being present as a friend. I was told to just get back to normal life, and she started to demand my presence at events, knowing that I would be in physical pain. I think she views physical pain as something that is just discomfort and not a life or death situation. I sometimes feel bad for cutting off contact, but I probably shouldn't. I know Devin had a stroke and was wondering if she might have any advice on navigating this situation too. Sorry this is long. I hope I'm not trauma dumping, lol, but I love your podcast. It brings me so much comfort during this time. Aw, did you get invited on a bachelorette trip? She's the friend.
No, that friend is so fucking annoying. And I remember when I first had my stroke and it was like a really big deal to me, but it's not like I was in the hospital. I was getting back to normal life and all of my trauma was like internal, like my anxiety. And also I have a blind spot in my vision, but I'm still able to do normal things. And I feel like everybody forgets that, but it bothers me. It impacts me every day. And I, a year later, wrote an Instagram post about how I was actually feeling and how I've been doing a year post.
Mm-hmm.
And like so many people in my family and friends were like, holy shit, I didn't know that was how you were feeling. And like, I don't know, even like it's, if I want to always be like to my mom and sisters and stuff, like I literally have a blind spot in my vision. Like there's a spot in my vision that is just, there's nothing there. Like if I put my finger over it, it disappears.
What does that look
like?
like?
I just want everybody to always remember.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so it's kind of like, do you know when someone takes a picture of you with a flash and then you get spots in your vision?
Yeah, it's like a black.
That's what it is.
Whoa.
So like just if you're looking out, there's like that black spot.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's like not in my direct line of vision. It's like right under and to the left.
That's freaky. Yeah, I would be wanting to remind people all the time.
But yeah, it's like, and even when people do start to kind of understand, they also will never understand.
Yeah. That makes sense because people are like, oh, you're home from the hospital. Like, oh, you're all better type of thing now. And now with this girl, it's like, oh, she's home. Especially, she's recovering. Like, she's getting better.
Yeah. If you're not like in a wheelchair or, like something that's visible, people just expect you to get back on with your life. Like, I remember working at the time, my boss made a comment to my best friend saying that, well, Devin's taken a lot of work off this month. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I had a stroke.
So
like
insane.
You're not on vacation. So, what the hell?
I think one of the best things to do is like find people, either a support group or people online that can relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you watched like Game of Thrones, but Emilia Clarke has a foundation for people with brain injuries because she had a aneurysm. And so we can find what it's called and post it in the Facebook group, but it's like a support group and like has a lot of resources. And it's just something that makes you feel less alone because like for me, seeing that young people also have brain injuries makes me feel less alone and like more related to.
For sure. I also think like any friends that are receptive to, or like, kind of checking in and stuff, like letting them know how they can support you, because I'm sure there's a lot of people like that want to do something but have no idea what's actually helpful for you. And I'm sure there's a lot of really simple things, like just the check-in texts are probably really like helpful. But of course, since it's not a visible thing, people don't remember all the time. So you just telling them like, hey, you checking in about like my condition means a lot to me, and like continue to do that because it like helps me not feel so alone. Because I'm sure like they feel like, I don't know, like if this is too much or like is it annoying or like whatever. So I think telling the people who are supportive and continue to like check in on you, like how they can actually help you and support you and comfort you, I think would be really big.
I think unfortunately with like taboo topics like this, people don't know what to say and then they just don't do anything because they get like paralyzed if they don't know what to do or say. So like it shouldn't be on the person going through it whatsoever, but unfortunately I think it is a lot of the time to be like, oh, I'm having a really hard week this week. Like I'm dealing with all of these things mentally going through my mind. I would really like if you just came over and hung out with me because I can't leave the house. Like whatever it might be that you need. But yeah, like you were saying, I feel like finding a community online of people that can like really relate to you, because then you can just have friendships with people who will fully relate to you that you're not gonna get with your friends that you already have.
Yeah.
Also, if your friend is going through something traumatic, I know that we all think that it's awkward or taboo to like ask or talk about it, but like we want to talk about it. We want to be asked about it. And if we don't feel like talking about it at the moment, we'll tell you, but it's not like even when someone close to you dies, like
that's what I was just gonna say.
And everybody's so afraid to bring it up or talk about them or like, oh, I'm so scared to even say their name. Like, no, they want to talk about it. We want to talk about them. We want to talk about our trauma. I mean, not necessarily our trauma, but you know, like when we're going through something like that. I don't think you should be afraid to talk about it with them.
Yeah. I also think like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like there might not be closure for the person that you cut off. So maybe if it's still kind of like lingering in your mind, like if this was the right decision or not, maybe just like having that kind of final text of, hey, this is what I'm going through. And like, I really need people who are supportive right now. And like, it doesn't really feel like you've been supportive or whatever it is that they're feeling, so that she can kind of like shut that door.
Or make a post on social media for her to see.
That's kind of frustrating. I would have been annoyed if I was you of like, oh, okay, now I make a post and my whole family reaches out to me. Like, where were you this whole year?
Yeah, but like they didn't know. They didn't understand.
Yeah. Do you wish you would have communicated that more openly at the time?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's the advice that you just gave.
Yeah, but I'm not like living in the past. I'm like over it now, I guess.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a long time ago, so I don't really know. I think however it panned out was fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't work for that person anymore.
Same.
I'm glad some of my family feels bad for me.
Oh, silly. Okay, but we wish you well. And we're always here to keep you company and entertain you.
Yeah.
And we fully respect you staying in your house as much as you want to. I support.
Good luck on your recovery.
Yes. Okay, this person says, I'm a man in my mid-30s struggling with dating women. I live in a small city, so apps aren't very useful, and they crush my soul anyways. I mostly meet women the old-fashioned way. No, not searching the woods for a sleeping princess, but through friends and social events. People consistently tell me I'm a great guy who shouldn't have any trouble dating. My experience says differently. I always go on a date or two before things end. A woman friend of mine said I'm quirky, not an average guy, would have more success dating introverts. Am I going to the wrong places to find and that I'm going to the wrong places to find women. But both her and I couldn't think of places I should go to meet introverts. The places we discussed, being an extroverted introvert myself, like coffee shops, I've never seen a woman open to being approached even for a chat. Where are the right places? Am I wrong about women's openness?
Dating apps.
I know. But he says that there's like his city's so small that that's not a thing.
But then how is he meeting people in person?
You're right. Like they live in the town.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can like make your range bigger.
But that's where the women are open to dating, you know? Like, yeah, if I was working at a coffee shop and I had headphones on and stuff, I'd be like, you know, don't talk to me.
Would that really?
But like when I'm on a dating app, I'm like, I'm literally looking for people to talk to me.
But would that annoy you or make you mad or something if you were in a coffee shop and some guy like
it wouldn't annoy me
or something?
if he came up and asked, like, if he came up and started talking to me and knew when to leave, then no, that wouldn't annoy me.
Exactly.
It would annoy me if they like sat next to me and then like continued to talk to me and didn't go away.
Because that's like creepy.
Unless all of a sudden it was like a meet cute and sparks were flying, like, you know, pinkies touch, and then it's like my whole life flashes before my eyes and I'm in love.
I really feel like a lot of people, when it comes to like, there's an energy and there's an approachability. Like, there's girls that if you're like head down, like you are just in your own world, like you shouldn't really bother somebody. But if they're like more open, like they're like, you know, there's like just kind of like this energy and aura about people that you can kind of tell like if they're open to being talked to or not. You know?
I hate that though. Like, I think that is something of our current times that has changed so much, is that openness, or just like when you're out in the world, just having your head up. Like when we were on Christmas, we ordered Chinese food and we were like pulling up to the place, and it's a very small restaurant, and in the front of the window there's like 15 people waiting for their food, just all on their phones, head down, and it was like anxiety inducing, like just even walking through there with everyone just on their phones. But then I had to wait in there for like 30 minutes, and when you go past all the people on their phones, there was like a group of 15 people that were all just talking to each other and hanging out, waiting for their Chinese food, and like talking with, like, learning about each other's lives, and it felt very open. I'm trying to do that more in general, just like not going on my phone during little periods where you're just waiting or something. But I think that that makes sense, like that it would come off as people being closed off because people are just on their phones more and not as like just looking out into the world, talking to random people.
There was somebody on TikTok that like made it their goal to just talk to more strangers. I think it's Morgan Riddle. And it was actually maybe in her YouTube video where like her goal, because she travels with her boyfriend for tennis, and her goal is just to talk to more strangers. And now she's gotten like really good at it because it's just like something that she does, and she does it like all over the world. So obviously she has like so much more like experience with it. But I think like making that intention just like kind of shifts your ability to have those conversations with more people. Like, of course it's probably awkward at first, but like if you just like, because then you also start to like see those signs from people that are like open to talking to you, and it just becomes easier.
Like, don't your parents do that? Like, do your parents talk to random people when you're out?
Sometimes.
So fucking much.
Exactly. Like, we don't do that.
No.
I find it's like really, it's kind of fun to talk to random people. Like,
it is.
But like, you have to be, I'm like selective about it, because there's certain times where like I just don't want to talk to you. I just don't want to talk to anybody. But then like if I'm in a mood where like I'm feeling chatty and interested in other people.
Yeah.
Then,
like I feel like
dogs are really good. If they have a dog also, we like had someone ask to buy us drinks because of Rosie on Sunday.
That's always helpful.
Yeah. So like
someone
if you
bought
have a dog,
me a coffee because of Willow one time.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't get bought things. I just get compliments.
Yeah. Well, like they were like everyone
compliments can't buy my coffee.
And this girl was like, she was so nice. She was like, "Hey, do you guys want another round?" And we were like, "We're actually gonna go, but thank you so much."
Aw.
But yeah, I think like having a dog or like an icebreaker or something to like introduce you to other people makes the world of a difference.
I also think taking the time to like actually try dating apps, and like this is advice to myself too, because like I get overwhelmed. I scroll through like 5 people and I'm like, oh fuck no, I hate this. But like you have to kind of dig and search and like find the people that actually interest you, stand out to you, fit your criteria.
Also, maybe I know I was gonna read the dating app question after this. There's one specifically on dating apps, but also maybe like going out with friends, like in a friend group, because I feel like in college a lot more you'd go out and be at different tables and you kind of like mingle and talk to other strangers. But now that doesn't happen as much. Like if I go out to dinner with girlfriends and like have drinks and stuff, you're not like, "What's up?" to the other tables. But I feel like that could be a good way. But overall, I think that you can approach women more than you probably think you could. Like Devin said, like just don't linger, like don't sit down with them. Like you can straight up go up to them, you can tell them that they're pretty or give them a compliment in some way and say that you are interested or ask for their Instagram or number or something. I don't think that's bad at all. I'm never like hurt. The other day some guy gave me his number in the Target parking lot. and that was concerning. I thought
Wow.
I dropped something, and I did not. It was December.
That is bizarre. Wow.
But I'm always just like, okay, cool. Like, I just say like, oh, I'm engaged, but thank you though. Like, that's nice. It's
Do
not
you
like
love
I'm
like
hurt by
flashing
it.
your ring? You're like,
Yeah, it's always like so fun because you just like do a quick flash.
they're like, oh fuck.
But the dating
I would
app
definitely
question,
agree.
somebody said tips on dating apps. I'm matching with people and starting combos, but I rarely get to the point of actually going on dates. I don't want a pen pal. I want to meet up in person. Starting to believe men are incapable of making plans. LOL.
Yeah, the last guy I was talking to on a dating app, like we exchanged phone numbers and he was not like, it's either the guy will immediately be like, when are we gonna go get drinks? Or the guy will be like talking forever and not ever ask you to get drinks.
That's so weird to me. Like, I wonder why.
It's just comfortable. And they like the attention because they have like this
I feel
person
like
who's expressing interest in them.
in my situation, I think the guy wasn't actually sure if I was going to say yes, if I was actually interested. Like, as a girl, you kind of have to show that you're interested more.
Oh, that's interesting because I would
obviously.
take it to mean like, oh, if we match, then you're probably interested in going on a date.
I think right now
You would think
because of like the situation with dating apps, I think guys are probably more scared of rejection than
That's
usual.
so interesting. I would not think that they would be scared of like being rejected once you already get to that point of talking and you already
because there's so many, because they know like how many people they match with, like, and
Yeah.
other people match with, so they're like, oh, what's like special about me?
Yeah, that's
I think I would
interesting.
just be more forward with like, hey, like, when do you want to get coffee? Like, after, if you like have that kind of initial interest, like, you could even just make it something like, hey, I am really bad at talking on these apps, like, or I'm really bad at like kind of checking these messages, like, when do you want to get coffee or when do you want to get drinks?
Yeah. As a girl, I will say that I am not matching with many people. So,
like
if
in
you did match
general,
with
like
me,
just
then
not.
I'm not just like, oh, sure, maybe I'll match.
Oh,
Like, I'm
like you're
only
always
matching with people that I have an interest in.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I would like to ask the boy who left the previous question if he would like if he enjoys the woman asking on the date in a dating app situation or in person, like because that
Try
seems like it
Bumble
would
if
be
you
helpful
do.
to him if the girl was like asking on the date.
And our sponsor today is Bumble. Just kidding.
I wish.
I have seen like a shift to people using Bumble more and having more luck with Bumble.
Me too.
Than Hinge. So
That's what I've
there's
heard.
a shift in.
You guys, we can finish my Bumble profile in January. Remember we started working on it in Palm Springs?
And we never finished it?
We didn't.
Oh.
That's sad. I feel like the pictures were great though. We decided on some quality pictures.
Yeah, we decided on some really good pictures.
I think we could do that.
Yeah, we had a strategy behind it.
We can do that in a podcast episode. Like people would like that because they want to set up their dating profiles. So we could like all do it together.
And like talk about the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had like a really good thing behind it. I'm like very excited. I kind of forgot how me and Maggie like spent probably an hour going through.
Probably.
And we like had a whole strategy of like the order of the pictures too.
Yeah.
I think that was great.
I should go look at it. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well.
Also with that guy though, I keep thinking about him. Because I feel like he's so cute. I don't know why. I feel like he's left us questions before. Maybe I'm just assuming it's all the same man, and I just like we have one male listener.
How I am. Yeah.
But how he said that he always goes on one or two dates and then it ends. Like maybe I would inspect that more. Like why does it end after one or two? What is going on? Would you ever ask somebody like if that was continuously happening to you? Would you ever ask the person you went on a date with like? Why were you not interested?
For research purposes. Yeah. I mean, if you have the balls to do it.
Maybe.
Oh,
I wouldn't. But
somebody also said any tips for an initial message to guys on a dating app. I never get any response back, so I've kind of given up.
I try to, if I see something in their profile, like an answer to a prompt that like sparks a response from me, then I will reply to that. Or I'll say something about that.
Yeah.
That's what I would think
if I
would be best.
was like, oh, I'm going to Hawaii next month. How was your trip? You know, like something that,
Yeah.
oh, I love The Office too. How many times have you watched it?
Mhm.
And if there's not something that in the prompt that triggers that, I'm kind of like, they're probably not for me anyways.
But why are guys matching with the girls if they don't even want to reply to them?
I don't know.
think
That's
it's
what
just an
was happening with
attention
me on
thing.
Hinge. I was getting nobody replying to me on Hinge. So
I have a question I really want to read
Read
because
it.
I've been here.
Okay.
Not the in love portion of it, but like definitely wanting to be in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
I've been friends with benefits with a guy for a year. Fell in love with him, which was not the plan, is it ever? He says we're just friends, but shows he cares, and everyone thinks we're in a relationship. I don't know what to do. End it. That's it. That's the story. Because I
but
think
there
that
are so many rom-coms about this.
no.
He's just
what
not
they
that
did.
into you.
Because it's
No strings attached,
it's
friends
just, like,
with benefits.
really, well, here's the thing. Like, I've had these situations where I was invited to like best friends' birthday dinners. I was invited out with like all of the guys. I was invited to like day parties. I was invited to like all of these things. And it makes you feel like there is something there and you can like see this potential with your relationship, but then they're not committing. And they're not like.
But did you ever bring it up? Did you
Yes,
ever say,
of course. Yeah.
I want more than friendship with you?
Yeah. And I asked like,
And
what's going on?
he said
What's
no.
happening?
And
And there's like this roundabout way of like just being like, okay, we'll talk about it later or whatever. I mean, you could have that conversation, but it sounds like you might have like already done that. I don't know. You could have that conversation.
I think you should have that conversation, and then
I don't know. It's worth it. I feel
but
like
that's the thing.
I think you should, because why? If you're not going to try, you should be honest and have the conversation.
I would assume
and
that she
then
already
if it goes
did.
nowhere, then break it off.
He says we're just friends. She's like already had that conversation with him.
Okay, well, if she hasn't, then have it. Be honest. Say, I want more than friends.
But this is the problem of friends with benefits is you guys are in a relationship. In your head, you're fully in a relationship. In his head, he's getting all the benefits of a relationship and none of the things that he doesn't want about a relationship. He's in a relationship with you. He's just like, no, I'm single, so I can go whatever, do things with other girls or do all the things that he thinks he doesn't want in a relationship, but he's getting all the good things out of it and you're not getting any of the things that you want and deserve.
I just think it's one of those things where like it's such an obvious answer that like I was in my head for over a year, actually, like 2 years. And I was like, oh, like we'll just keep doing this, like it's fun. And I kept telling myself like it's fine, like I'm gonna date other people at the same time, but like there's no like room for other people because you're like still attached to this person.
And you convince yourself that you can change it, like that you'll be the one that they'll fall in love with you.
And I think like Tinks always says like their life gets worse or they come back or whatever. I can't remember the exact saying of what she says, but either way, I feel like if you end it, and this is what I did too, where like I ended it or like I just stopped talking to him and he was like trying even harder, like go on dates and stuff with me. And I was just like, no, I've like already moved on. Like I'm good. Thank you.
I love that.
I just think that it's for your own time and like your own life and getting to somebody who like actually gives a shit about you and like wants to do all those things with you, like end it so that you can be open to other opportunities that are going to be so much better for you. And because that's exactly when I ended it with this person, I made that decision. Like that's when I found Joe. So I was like,
see, that's what always happens. It's like when you think you're like so sure that that path is the right path, and then it's like, oh no, that's not supposed to happen at all. But I think that if you're so strong and all it is like caring about yourself and putting yourself first in the way that you should be treated and saying point blank, like, I want to be exclusive with you. I want to date you. If that's not happening, then I unfortunately have to be done with this friendship in general because we can't be just friends.
Yeah. I just think though, like if this is the situation that like I was in and I've kind of had that conversation where she's like already said we're just friends, I don't think it's even worth being like, hey, I really want to like make this work with you, I think that I would just be like, hey, I can't do this anymore. Like, I wish you all the best.
I just think it's better to say what you want directly than to be like, oh, what are we or whatever in that stage. But if you're already past that and everything, then yeah, you're right. You can just leave. Because the conversation has been had, I would guarantee, a lot of times within that year.
Yeah. But it sucks. Like, I have so much sympathy for you. This is not me on my high horse. This is like, I've been there. It sucks. And it can get better if you can like end it and open yourself up to other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy. It's not like an easy like, oh, I'll just do this.
No, like you probably have to block him so that way you don't try even communicating.
Yeah, I would definitely mute on all socials because that's dangerous.
God, that's so hard.
Yeah, it is.
Not fun.
Yeah.
Okay, would love advice from you ladies on your best tips for saving money. I'm trying to save for a new car, but between general life expenses, paying off current debt, and building up a basic savings account, it feels impossible, even though I'm already cutting back on spending where I can. I've made a mediocre but livable salary and haven't found any luck finding a new job, so I've been sticking it out for now. I'm a single girly who lives alone with my 2 dogs, so all the home expenses are on me. Looking forward to your advice and love the pod. Thank you.
That is really hard. Like for me, the way that I was able to save money is having like a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was also, all of my salary was going to all of my bills. Like it was really hard to ever save money.
Yeah.
Until I had a side hustle, which is bullshit when you're working a full-time job.
I agree.
That you have to, like, as millennials and Gen Z, it's rough out there these days.
Yeah, that's unfortunately just not how it was. I saw this like really funny video of this guy who's impersonating Dave Ramsey on TikTok, and he's like he's doing the fake call of like somebody calling in, and the guy's like, yeah, like I have a $60,000 salary and like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Like I don't know what to do. I don't have extra costs, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's faking Dave Ramsey. He's like, first of all, you need to get a third job. How would you ever have 2 jobs? You need to have a third job. And then he's like, how much is your mortgage? $2,000? That's your problem. You need to find cheaper housing. Like, why are you paying that much for housing? Like, just all of these things that you can't change now whatsoever. Like, the cheapest housing will be too much of your salary. Like, that's how it is now. The food is a bigger portion. I just found out that the poverty line technically is if you spend more than 1/3 of your income on food.
Oh, shit.
I literally texted Cameron. I was like, do we do that? I don't think so, but like we go like God. That's probably really common.
That's so frustrating to me.
Yeah. I definitely think it's worth it to like continue the job hunt. I know she's like not had very much luck, but trying to like really be intentional about the type of jobs that you're applying to, because obviously if you can like make more money, that just like helps your life and makes it easier. So like even if you can find other opportunities where like you could make, 1.5 times what you're currently making, I think that would be worth it to invest that time into that, because like if you can't have a side hustle or what, you're not like, there's nothing that's kind of coming about for a side hustle, I definitely think investing that time into finding another job would be beneficial. And even like investing in someone who like could help you with your resume or like interview skills, like those little things. So
and it feels hard to invest when you feel like stressed on money. It's like, oh, I don't want to invest in these things, but sometimes those can be so helpful to end you making up way more money.
Yeah, because I know like there's a lot of different like little tips and tricks I see like all over LinkedIn all the time. There's like specific people that are really good about like the editing your resume or like interview tips and things like that. So I think that could be really beneficial.
There's that one app too that it will round up all of your money and put the change into a savings for you.
Oh, Acorn.
Is it Rocket Money? It used to be Acorn. I don't know if it's still Acorn. I think
Acorns.
It is.
I have it, yeah.
Rocket Money,
yeah,
I
like
love those ads. Those ads are like getting me every time. But that
Rocket Money is amazing. I love Rocket Money. It's so great. It's found me so many subscriptions that I did not know that I freaking had.
Yeah,
having things like that. And also, I love saving money more than I like spending it, and I kind of make it a game. So it makes me more likely to put money in savings rather than spending it on something.
Mm-hmm.
And like setting goals for each month, like if every month you want to save $100, it like if you have that goal, it makes you more like kind of push to putting those extra dollars every time into your savings rather than spending it on takeout or whatever. Just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
finding the joy in saving money,
Yeah.
because it's so cool to have money saved. Like it makes you feel good.
That's what I
I
was gonna
also
say. Like,
look
sorry.
at just like maybe not a basic savings account, like high yield savings account and like investment
Yeah.
accounts, because like you're not really making any money off of a basic savings account. So putting it into high yield savings and different investment accounts could help your money that you're
Yeah.
already saving grow faster.
And putting all of your extra money into the high yield savings account right away, because you can't touch that money anymore. I mean, you can take it out if you want to, whenever you want. There's no like penalties on removing that money. But like, I'm always just spending my debit card and not thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's put into my savings account, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it can't be spent anymore, which has always been helpful for me for saving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely have like a handful of different bank accounts, and that helps me to not touch the money that I'm not supposed to touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's finding what works for you of the saving aspect of like what will make you not touch it. Because some people it's the opposite, where it's cash that they won't touch, like putting in envelopes and like fully taking money out of the bank and putting cash separately. That can help people way more versus some people it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to put it in a savings account where I don't see it. But yeah, like you, I like to gamify it. Like when I saved 10,000 for our house, like I literally made like a full chart thing, and you basically just like fill in whenever you save $100, and then it adds up fully to $10,000, and it feels like a cool game. But
Yeah,
also,
don't they have like templates on Etsy and stuff
yeah,
that
I
you
made
can
one.
buy
I
and
have it
download
for
to like
sale if you'd like to buy.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I
um,
also, in terms of not touching it, that's why I use investment accounts, because I can see like the fluctuation of like myself like making money by investing, and it makes
yeah,
me like less likely to pull it out, because I'm like, oh, like if I pull it out now, like I'm gonna
Right.
lose money on this because the market's down or
Yeah.
like whatever.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's like the biggest way that I've been able to save money, is because I don't want to like, even like a high yield savings account, I know myself, like I'd probably be a little more tempted to take that out because there's no like penalties, but like, and there's no penalties if you sell a stock, but it's just less likely to make me want to like take that out because I know it's growing and the market's changing and everything else.
yeah. When it comes to the cutting costs and cutting back on spending, for me, I have to know it as like a short term period type thing. Like, oh, if you're trying to save for a new car, make it like, okay, when you're done with getting that new car, then you can have like a little break of cutting back on all your spending. But because for me, I can't be like, okay, I'm never gonna go eat out again, I'm never gonna get my hair done again and my nails done again and eat coffee out and online shop and buy clothes. Like there's so many different things that you can spend money on, and like
Mm-hmm.
it, when you are cutting back all of those, like it feels shitty. Like you can get groceries for $40. Like you can. It's just you have to eat shit food. You have to eat unhealthy food. You have to eat bean burritos and ramen and shit. But like you can do that.
Produce isn't expensive.
It is a little. And when you have to
Yeah.
make like when you make a full meal like plan like that where you're getting produce for a recipe, then it ends up being more money. Like it is true that the unhealthy food.
It's always like the seasonings and the like sauces and
Yeah,
the
exactly. So like
cream cheese and the
you
cheese
just
and
have to
the
be in shitty seasons sometimes. Like you won't enjoy life for however long it might be, but be like, okay, for 2 weeks I'm doing this. Like what we like to do usually is like every week. Like we'll go really hard for the week, but then on Friday we'll go out to dinner. And if I could just get that one time out a week, that like keeps me hanging
That's
on.
good.
I also think
Yeah.
like analyzing, like depending on how much you want to save for a car and other things like that, one thing that I've seen a lot on is like if you're limiting yourself and you're living in this like I can't do this and like this lack mindset, it's really hard to like see the abundance and opportunities. And like for example, I know people like actually look at how much things add up to, because I don't think buying like a coffee every day is like, or however many times a week that you buy it.
Exactly.
People like will add that up and it's like $1,000 a year. If you're trying to save $1,000, great. But like most of the time people are trying to save like $30,000 or whatever. And so like that, go buy yourself that coffee because that's like helping you treat yourself and like kind of live in that more abundance versus like for me, I know like, okay, if I'm spending $1,000 a month or more on clothes, that's an expense that I can like cut back on and is actually going to make a difference in like the overall things. But I think sometimes people are like, I have to cut out everything. Like even your hair, like a lot of people get their hair done. It's like, okay, $200 twice a year or whatever. Like go get your hair done. Like that's not going to like hurt your like end goal and savings.
Yeah. It's like looking at like analyzing your spending and what is like most important to you, what makes you happiest, and what is taking up a lot of money that you could maybe cut out.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you do have to like I really did need to not get my hair done for that year. Like that was $1,000. So I needed that $1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
But instead I was getting coffee out. Like you just balance whatever works for you.
And the things that are going to make you happy.
I cannot believe how many good questions we have, and I feel so bad that we haven't even gotten to half of them.
I know.
Like I want to,
but now we're actually tracking them, so we
can't decide. But everybody needs a response right now.
I know. Like, do we do one more short one, or do we just save it?
Well, I haven't picked one yet, so there's one that I see that I think would be good.
Okay, go.
I'm a people pleaser and introvert, and lately I've been so burnt out with family friend obligations that I look at everything I do as a have to do and not a want to do. I get so frustrated about needing more downtime, recharge time than others. Any advice for resetting, fully recharging to get back to a place where you feel like you can go out and be social? Thanks so much.
I moved to a different state when I was feeling that way.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Move. Or go away on a vacation by yourself to recharge.
Really moving solves it, though. It literally does solve it. It's actually crazy.
And you know what helps me, which is not the advice I'm giving you, but alcohol. Helps me. Like if I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to my dad's house for dinner, I'll buy a bottle of wine and have a glass of wine there, and it makes it alcohol makes me happy to be social when I don't want to.
Yeah.
But like this is literally my life. This is how I feel all the time. And it sucks because you want to socialize, but you don't want to socialize. And then like I just get in a bad mood. Mm-hmm. I'll be moody or anxious about it. And like I actually had to say no to my New Year's Eve plans because I was just thinking about it, was filling me with so much dread. I just did not want to do it. And I didn't. Yay. So I felt guilty about it for sure, but they all had each other. They didn't need me there, you know? So I think, especially with family, you have to say yes to certain things because when my family members don't come to things, I'm like, what? You hate us? Like, what's wrong with you? But like, you also have to be able to say no to things and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah. I also feel like it's really hard to have the initial conversation, but if you can like set the boundary and like expectations with them ahead of time, I think it makes it easier to like when you do say no or you only go for like 30 minutes or an hour or something, people are not like, why are you leaving? What's wrong with you? Like, why didn't you come? Or like, why are you late?
That's the hard part though.
But if you're setting the expectations up
leaving
front,
the situation.
Yeah, but if you're setting it up front, like if my sisters are like, hey, we're going to go do this by ourselves, I'm not like, why the fuck are you leaving? Like, why aren't you taking us with you? Like, why didn't you invite us to come? Like, why didn't you?
I know, but sometimes, a lot of times when you go to a social gathering and then you're leaving, everybody's like, why are you leaving? Stay. And when you're a people pleaser, you're like, oh my God, this is my worst fear.
Yeah.
But you could say, I'm going to stop by and say hi for 30 minutes and then I'm going to leave and then do the old Irish goodbye because that is my favorite thing to do. Like, and then text them and be like, I had so much fun, but I had to go, you know?
But that's why I think if you can like tell people ahead of time, like, hey, I'm only staying for this amount of time, then people are not like so surprised. Because I think that's where like the people pleasing and the like guilt comes into play, is when people give you those like, oh, you only stayed for like 20 minutes, like why? You're like, oh my god, like I feel like shit, like I showed up,
hate
this
that.
this like took everything in me to come here, and now I'm like being told that I'm the worst person ever for leaving.
Maybe share a social media post again explaining your feelings, and then your family will see it and be like, oh, I get it. I get it now.
It's so hard. Like my family was like 100% this way, and my brother is so that way. I'm like, why are you leaving then? Are you really gonna do this and not stay? Blah blah blah. Like my whole family's like that. And when I was living in Tucson with everybody, like my family would hang out multiple times a week, like not even just once a week. So if I was wanting to hang out with
Your
my
family is like
friends,
my family.
yeah, and I would just be like,
And you
I
are
just
my
want to hang
sister.
out with my friends. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to hang out with you every single outing. Like, I can't. And to them, that, or I felt it, I perceived as though that they were really upset and thought that I didn't like them and I only wanted to be with my friends. But I'm like, it's because you're making me feel this way that I don't want to hang out with you. So I'm such a people pleaser that I literally did move to get away from that. However, I think that as I've been away, I've gotten a lot better at setting those boundaries. And every time before I go home, I send a text. This is the time that we're likely going to spend together. Probably won't be more than this. This is what we'll be doing, blah, blah, blah. And like it does help set expectations. And then also when you live away, it like makes you like appreciate the time more too, because then you're not doing it multiple times a week.
I also think that you need to give yourself a break.
Leave.
This girl just moves states.
Like it sounds like you need to take a whole week and just don't leave your house and don't communicate with anyone. Do a nice reset, especially after the holidays, because it was filled with so many obligations and social events. Just you need to rest.
But that's
don't
so
see anyone.
hard. Like, how do you feel
for a week? You can't say no to family dinner or a friend obligation for a week.
Do your family tries to like stop by or no? Like, will they go to your house?
No. I mean, they're not going to come over unannounced.
That's nice.
Yeah, I guess I would feel like if I was living in Tucson now, I would feel bad almost still being like, I'm just not doing anything this week. Like, I still have to be like, instead, I'm doing this or I'm busy with this. It's hard for me to just be like, my plans are to do nothing.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah, that's when you need to open up the dialogue of, I just am feeling really exhausted by social events and I just want to take a break. I love you, but I just want to stay home tonight for a week and then I'll be back.
Yeah.
Or like if you already saw a certain friend or a certain family member once this week, being able to be like, I want to stay home tonight or whatever. Like, I don't know how many social events this person has. Maybe it's way more than I am fathoming.
Yeah, but it's also hard for like extroverts too to understand. Like they just genuinely don't get it. Like it took a long time for some people in my family to just understand that then helps me. Like if I get the time alone, then they'll like me more when I'm back.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I do. I say, I start a podcast and then explain all of my feelings, and then my family listens to it, and then they get it after that.
The little things.
Yeah, I guess like text conversation is always easier for me than in person. So that's easier, maybe like sending text versus like talking to them about it in person.
Yeah. It's hard though. I always feel guilty, but also I feel good when I stay home. Like I feel guilty sending the text, but then it feels even better to just have the plan canceled.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I had plans this weekend with a few girls and I was like excited about it because I was like actually having plans and whatnot. But then it snowed and one of them got sick and we canceled. And I was like, nice. This is great.
Yeah.
There's so many good questions. Should we do this as an in-person episode?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, maybe we should do it in Colorado. I like the advice episode that we did in person in
Me
Palm
too.
Springs.
We need to get our subscription thing going because this would be a good bonus episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Like we could just keep answering more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, well, make sure that you go join our Facebook community so you can leave any of your questions or advice you need, any updates on advice we've given you in our Google form. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and TikTok and subscribe to us on YouTube. And you can listen to us every Tuesday, wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.